I asked the question, are they surprised at Dak's deal? Was my question. Was it surprised at Dak's deal? Here's the first general manager. He said, nope. He shoved it right down their throat. Because of the strategy and timing that the team chose, Dak was able to dictate every part of the terms. Mm-hmm. The art of the deal is what that general manager said.
I thought the Joneses were great negotiators. Can't believe they lost.
Well, I was talking about, though, too, I'll be interested to ask the question if, in fact, that was Todd France and Dak Prescott's initial request too much. Did they just say, no, we're not going to deal with it. There's so many questions I have in my mind right now about this deal. And again, I'm trying to look at it from both sides here, but I just, I don't know. I mean, I see where this general manager's going. I asked him, I said, you really believe it? He goes, no, yeah. This guy, they shoved it right down their throat is what they did.
You know what I want to know? Do you think the Cowboys would go back and do things different, or if they're fine with how it all played out?
I think they're fine. I do. I mean, as much criticism as have been given them about it and all that, I think they're fine. I don't think they give a rat's about what I think.
But they should know.
But they don't care. They don't. I really do believe that, General. I don't think they care about it. No. To them, they got the deal done. That's the bottom line. And, and if we start to hear some things of like, well, no, the agent was unreasonable and Dak was unreasonable. And, if you start to, and I'm not saying it's just a one-way street here, but I would be interested to hear both sides of this, of how this thing went down. Because it does appear that the Cowboys.
Always a both sides guy.
No.
Always a both sides guy.
I don't think so. I'm just interested. Because I want to know next time when the Cowboys do one of these things what to expect.
To not pay at first and then later on have to pay more.
Yeah.
That's what I expect.
I wonder why. Yeah, that's what I want to know.
And do they have any credibility with agents? I don't think you would. I think you just tell your player, listen, they're going to give you everything you want. Don't worry about going anywhere else.
Just don't snap your spine in half. We're going to be good here.
Yeah. The longer this goes, the more we win.
That's could be a fair point. Next guy. Yes, I was surprised initially, but then I realized that they saw what life was like without him. That could be very sobering. So they, that was what our general managers thought. That
half as many yards per game.
Yeah, that all of a sudden it's like, I was surprised that they did what they did, but they got a glimpse of what this will look like without him, and that's very sobering. Thoughts on that, Jeff?
Yeah, it's not a lot of fun when you have a bad quarterback. And if you and like Andy Dalton was at least okay, but life gets a lot less fun. I think when you try to put into context what Dak was doing with all the turnovers they were committing, some of them were him, but a lot of them were also fumbles, and you have a bad defense, and now we can't block either. Life's not fun. So, it's pretty important. Keep your quarterback.
Now, I don't want to be accused of being a hater, but it's not like he was blowing it up in that situation that Andy Dalton was in. He was on his way to going about 7-9 as well.
Unless
with the defense, they were having problems. They were having problems with they couldn't run the ball. They couldn't block very well. The defense, that's fair. Next general manager said in one sentence, "Nothing ever surprises me there." That was his answer.
Just in general. Whatever happens, it's different over there.
Yeah, he said, "Nothing ever surprises me there."
I think that's fair, You really prioritize random positions that most teams don't. You don't prioritize teams that or spots that a lot of teams do. You can't get a deal done with your quarterback. Dallas is unique. There's no doubt about it.
I think we are at a point, though, that like big, bold moves would be surprising. Being talked into a deal that they didn't want to for years, that's not surprising. That happens. Not signing free agents, that's not surprising. That's what happens in 5 out of the last 6 off seasons. So I'd love to see more of the Jerry Wildcatting. I'd love to be, but that would be a shock at this point. I mean, they're the last big shocking signing they did. I don't know. Going after Asamoah in 2011, getting Carr in 12. I mean, do they do anything big? I don't know.
No.
See, they've just banked so much on signing their own. That's how they look at their free agency. They look at signing their guys long term, whether it's Smith, Martin, Frederick back in the day. Given
that's fine, but you got to be perfect in the draft.
I understand. Yeah,
year after year, you can't have a big fall off and say, well, we got enough starters, now we can start taking special teamers, or now we can really try to draft for needs because we're so loaded. That's what got him with Tristan and Taco. If you're gonna draft and sign your own, then every year you have to be replacing those guys. Otherwise, there's a big talent gap when your real core starts getting old.
Yeah. Next general manager. Not really. I'm sure he's on the track for recovery. They put themselves in a bit of a corner. They didn't want to franchise him, and they needed to get the deal done. They didn't also seem to want the fourth or fifth quarterback in this draft at 10.
Yeah, I don't blame them for not liking those quarterbacks or loving those quarterbacks. Those seems like coin flips at best, probably worse than that. But what jumped out to me there, Brian, I'm sure he's on the track to recovery. It's like that member of your Gang of Seven was more looking at the injury.
Yeah. Yeah, I was because that seems to be the questions that we have is, we've been kind of like, there's different groups, groups I talk to, groups that Mike talked to, groups that you guys talk to that seem to kind of have various opinions on this about the situation. So yeah, this general manager did talk about as you said, General, the road to recovery, and we'll see how that all plays out. Next general manager said, not really. He had tremendous leverage. Wasn't surprised at all. So that's something that's once again Jerry even said that. So that in itself is not surprising.
Jerry said he has all the leverage.
Yeah,
but we don't care.
We don't care.
This is what we're going to pay.
Another guy said,
so insane.
Yeah. Another guy said, waiting on Dak definitely cost the team a lot of money. The handling of the extensions recently has been curious.
Curiouser and curiouser, I would say.
Yeah, I want to give him the benefit of the doubt and say Steven's not able to execute his plan, because there are other priorities in the organization, And until there's one chef, I can't really judge his menu if you're making him account for other perspectives. And it's so convoluted in there. I don't know whose decision is whose. But it's not going well. There's no doubt about it. Whoever is in charge and whatever is being compromised and how many different voices, it's not equaling like an optimal approach to this. And I think this is embarrassing to drag it out this far and not have any wins to show for it at all.
Yeah, to me, I know I went on that rant, and I keep looking at that. And when I went home last night, I was thinking, I just had glad it was over, but I had so many questions. If you just keep telling me, man, we did this in a day, why was the problems? And I keep talking about, other things with what they wanted, maybe some demands, things like that.
I think it only took a day because the Cowboys cried uncle. They're like, okay.
They know they had to get this done.
Yeah.
Yeah,
the cost was always the cost. It was just a matter of when you wanted to pay the cost.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were holding out, hoping that the player would feel insecure in some way. Because oftentimes players do, or they get impatient. Dak was never going to get impatient.
The final.
Got too many RKGs. You need impulsive people who listen to their emotions if you want to catch them in a moment of weakness.
And the final thought here is, they did what they had to do. Was it ideal? No, it wasn't. But try and play without a quarterback. You won't last long.
Yeah.
That was the final thought.
I think that's a perfect point on it, too. KNC was taking calls earlier. We've seen the text. I'm running a Twitter poll at GBag Nation. And, there's some people who are down about it. And I just, think if it is a mistake, it's a small mistake. And he's on an upward trajectory still in a way that even if you think he's not good enough yet, it's worth it to see this thing through and how much better he possibly could be. Absolutely. So, yeah, did the Cowboys lose the negotiation a little bit? Yes. But one of the better 10 quarterbacks in the NFL, and if you surround him as a rookie, he won 13 games. You're not going to let that walk unless you have a better opportunity. Maybe if they had the number 1 pick in the draft or the number 2 or number 3 pick, you could say, hey, trade up and get Lawrence. That's if the number 1 team was willing to trade him, right?
Right.
But there's just nothing better.